Aren't you a little short for a stormtrooper?
What's up, nerds? Welcome to another episode of the Multiverse Report. We are recapping the week's nerdy news from 2021 to 2022 and everywhere in between. That's right. Happy New Year. My name is Mike Gibson, your co-host. My other co-host with me, as always, is Steve Haller. Happy New Year, Steve, and how are you?
Same to you, Mike, and going into the new one strong. We're a day in and nothing stupid has happened yet.
Yeah.
Hold my breath. There's going to be something, but we're good for a day.
I'm sure stupid things are happening everywhere. We haven't been witness to them, I guess. We should
Fair enough.
And I'm thankful for those things.
I mean, that comes when you're not leaving your house because of Omicron, so.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry, we're a little bit late to launch this stream tonight, those of you who sometimes watch us live, because Steve and I were commiserating about COVID numbers being highly escalated in our area where we are. So, got a little bit of a late jump on the show tonight, but that's okay, because you know why? Bit of a light week for news. This might be a bit of a shorter episode, and a bit of a unique episode.
We always say that.
We always say that. That's true. We do always say that. But that one time that we did the double episode, the regular episode was shorter than normal.
Right.
But then the second episode, the Spider-Man spoiler, was longer than normal. So it was like we had to stop talking so we could keep talking longer.
Right.
So we actually talked. If you count the amount of time we talked that evening, it was much longer than ever. We just split it into 2 episodes.
Yeah, we had our first 2-hour episode. We just published it in 2 different spots.
It's just 2 different episodes, exactly. Anyway, we do have a couple 2 legitimate things to talk about that happened this week. And we're going to do a review of the first episode of Boba Fett. We're going to talk comics, and then we're going to end by doing a bit of a recap on 2021. We're each going to pick one of our favorite movies, television shows, or comics from 2021 with an honorable mention thrown in there. And then we're also going to say what we're most anticipating in 2022. So a bit of a slightly unique episode because we're probably going to get through the top of this a little bit quickly, and we will see what happens. We haven't talked about I guess maybe we could talk about when we get there, but when we get to Book of Boba Fett, is that going to be a spoiler reaction?
I think what we should probably do, we'll probably do the thing where we do a non-spoiler in the middle of the show, and then at the end we can come back around and go hard on Boba Fett if you want.
Okay, or we could do the thing where we set a timer for 8 minutes or something, and we can talk about spoilers and say everyone else skip ahead 8 minutes or something. We can do that.
Well, actually, you know what? In the show notes, I'll have exactly where the time is. So if you don't want to be spoiled on Book of Boba Fett, just look in the show notes. You can skip ahead to whatever minute the next the comic stuff starts. So
perfect. And if you're watching live, just hit mute, and we'll wave frantically when you can come back. I don't know. Anyway, one of the 2 things we have to talk. We have 2 trailers to talk about. One of them is a very legit news story that I'm kind of surprised they didn't hold this until after the holidays. But I guess they feel like a lot of people are home, people aren't doing anything, so we'll get a lot of eyes on it, and it did get a lot of eyes on it. We're talking about the new trailer for The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves, starring Robert Pattinson and Colin Farrell and a bunch of people whose names I'm blanking on right now. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman.
That's who that was. Okay.
Yeah.
I forgot. I was like, who is that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So anyway, this is the technically 3rd trailer I think we've gotten for The Batman, because we got I got a teaser, but you and I have talked about how to differentiate a teaser from a trailer, and is it just 2 minutes or less as a teaser and anything above as a trailer? Because I don't know, the first quote-unquote teaser we got for this seemed like a full trailer for me, and then we got one a few months ago, and now we're getting this one. So technically the 3rd trailer for The Batman. I've watched it 3 times, I think. Steve, you just watched it moments before we started. So let's start with you. What was your reaction to this trailer for the Batman?
So the rest of them had given me like, okay, this looks good. This is intriguing. This one, the hooks were in. You had the action. You had the focus on the Riddler and portraying him not in Jim Carrey fashion, which it's a welcome change. The whole Catwoman dynamic, like there was this trailer brought a lot of the things that we either knew were going to happen or had been rumored to happen to the fore as well. Just in the I don't know, dark, gritty, weird spot that Batman's finding himself in.
Right.
The whole line of him and Alfred. There was some implication of Alfred like holding out on him or lying to him or something.
Yeah.
It was there was a lot in this trailer. There was a lot of meat to it.
Yeah, they're definitely like hinting at there being more to the movie than just, I don't know, punching.
Right.
And like you said, and I remember the only complaint I had about the previous trailer when we talked about that was the lack of Riddler in it. Like, I think the beginning of trailer 2 started with Riddler getting arrested at a coffee shop, and there's a bit of that scene in this trailer as well. But you get more of his voice. You get like he's communicating with Batman via live stream or like some kind of
he's
video
FaceTiming
call
him.
or something. Yeah. And I like that, like, you came, I didn't think you would come, or whatever. I really love, like you mentioned Jim Carrey's Riddler, and I like Jim Carrey enough, I guess. Batman Forever, not my favorite Batman movie, I think you could say.
I think we've gone over that a couple of times.
Yeah. I don't know. A lot of people love Jim Carrey as the Riddler. I felt like Jim Carrey was just doing his version of the Frank Gorshin Riddler from the 66 Batman TV show, and doing it more as like a clown. And like the Frank Gorshin Riddler is kind of like silly and zany, but also like really obsessed and maniacal at the same time. Like, and he switches from zany laughing to like really intense, I'm going to kill you, like just on a dime, which is really cool. And Jim Carrey was just doing just kind of the clown version of that.
Dial the camp up to 12 and that's your Riddler. Whereas this, like you mentioned, it seems to be the flip side of that coin of like, there's some weird stuff going on in this guy's head.
I like a more sinister Riddler for sure. Because he's somebody that can easily be written off as a joke.
Literally,
mostly because of the biggest portrayals of him have been, like, I feel like if you ask average Joe or average Jane on the street about the Riddler, their first thought will be the Jim Carrey one, because that's like the most prominent one that I can think of.
Right. Or the one from the old classic series that
or like the Frank Gorshin 66. Yeah.
Right. That they won't remember the flip. They'll remember the zany.
Right. Yeah, they remember the spandex and the giant question marks and stuff. Honestly, my favorite version of the Riddler has always been the Batman the Animated Series Riddler, who's like, he's not zany, but he's not, and he's aware of how smart he is. And he's a kind of like a hands-off kind of guy, still like the elaborate death traps and mazes and stuff like that, which is like great.
Right.
But very much like, I am much smarter than you, Batman. See if you can solve this. And, if you don't, you're going to die. Like, but this is kind of like it's definitely stripping all of the zaniness away and making him even more sinister, and a murderer, straight up like weird murderer. It's very interesting take, and it's cool because we've never seen that before.
Yeah,
but it's also I know it's more believable, I guess.
I was trying to put my finger on it, and I think I just did. They took the Riddler and almost added like classic Jigsaw from Saw end up a little bit to it, of like, there's this sadistic end of it. It's not just the crazy zany, hey, I made you a trap.
Right.
There's like this is dark, and it fits with what we had known about the Reeves Batman, that it was going to be dark, and a lot of how, I mean, the way Pattinson is portraying everything is very dour and dark, because I can't say dark enough after watching this trailer, outside of the really, really big booms and flashy explosions, which also look really good. So
they look great.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, the Riddler should be obsessed with how smart he is.
Yeah.
And should be arrogant in that. And like that line about, "Oh, you're not as smart as I thought you were," like, was just really, I don't know, spoke to that for me in a way that made me excited to see this version of the character.
Yep.
I gotta say, I loved the opening. That scene, I feel like the scene with the Penguin, Colin Farrell, that car crash that we saw in trailer 2, like, Colin Farrell has said he's only in a few scenes of this movie. He's not in it a ton. I feel like that's going to be the bulk of how we see Penguin. But man, I can't wait to see that entire scene because I don't know, like there's a lot that I like about. I like Ben Affleck as Batman a lot. I liked him a lot. Zack Snyder's Justice League I think is really good. Didn't love Batman vs Superman. But anyway, both of those movies use CGI a lot. And there's definitely CGI in this movie. But I think there's also a lot of practical stuff in this movie. It seems like a lot of those car crashes and chases were done practically, or they look practical anyway. Right. Whereas some of like the big Batmobile chase scene in Batman vs Superman, where you can tell like so much of it is CGI and not real. This looks like pretty visceral and real, and in similar to like the way Christopher Nolan's Batman movies looked, where like there's CGI, but CGI is there to like assist practical effects. That's kind of what this looks like. And it just looks so much cooler. The
Snyder stuff,
spinning out of control and stuff is just awesome.
The Snyder stuff took a little page out of the George Lucas book and kind of went a little too heavy into the CGI and taking away from like there you can tell, and you don't end up in that uncanny valley if there's a practical effect that works.
Right. But at the same time, to be fair to the Zack Snyder movies, as much as they deserve to be, his Batman was a Batman that existed in a world of Supermen and gods and things like that. So like you kind of gotta, if you're making a movie where Batman is going toe to toe with Superman and also Wonder Woman is going to be in it, like then you kind of have to be like, okay, we're gonna beef this up a little bit, and this is going to look a little extra worldly or otherworldly because it has to match a dude that's going to fly away and shoot lasers out of his eyes. So like, I guess I get that at the same time, where both Christopher Nolan and I believe this Batman movie as well is like, Batman's the only superhero that is around. Like there's no Superman that's going to fly in and help him or anything. He's the only one, which I get. But anyway, the thing that I was most excited about this trailer is the amount of Catwoman and Selena Kyle that is in this trailer. I think it's great that they seem to be really leaning into her as a character, to somebody to develop and to play alongside of Bruce, almost as like a sidekick. Like they're not doing Robin that we know of. It's a young Batman, so there's not going to be any Dick Grayson or Nightwing or Batgirl or anything like that. But they can get that same flavor with Selena Kyle, and it seems like that's what they're doing. And I don't know. I saw a bunch of like, like a lot of people, misogynists will just get mad if women are just in anything. I saw people mad that she was featured so prominently in this trailer, and somebody retweeted and replied or something saying like, imagine being so dumb that you're mad that one of the main characters in Batman comics is in the Batman movie. You're just mad. Like, especially recently, within the last 5 years, Catwoman has been like all over the Batman comics. They've been like heavily involved romantically. Like there was a while she was in almost every issue. She still pops up all the time, or Batman shows up in her books all the time. It's like, yo, she's a main character in this dude's life. Like, of course she's in the movie. It's great that she's in the movie. I'm very excited. And her characterization seems really on point. Like she's interested in him, but she's like fiercely independent. There's the line in the end of the first trailer we got for this movie. I just put this together tonight when I rewatched it again before the show, that, he's like beating somebody up mercilessly, and someone says, "Who are you?" And he says, "I am." And you think he's going to say Batman, but he says, "Vengeance." And then there's a line from Selena in this trailer where she goes, all right, come on, vengeance, let's go make some trouble. And that's to me, it's just like she's like just heard him say that,
right.
like making fun of him almost for calling himself that or whatever. Like that's so
great.
funny. Like that's the kind of relationship that I'm looking for as a Batman fan or as a fan of the Bat family. Like
Right.
I love Batman. He's my favorite superhero, but I think when he's by himself, he can get a little, I don't know, like on the boring side. He can get a like, okay, like yeah, he's dark, he's brooding, like gotta give me something else.
We get it.
And like, yeah, giving him a Nightwing or a Batgirl or a Robin or a Catwoman in this situation to like be like, yo, I get it, you're dark, and I completely understand why, and I respect all your reasons why, but like, I'm still gonna like, I'm gonna poke you a little bit. I'm just gonna, play with it a little bit. That's way more interesting than just having a Batman by himself, in my opinion. So yeah, very excited about this. She gives him a quip like, he's like, don't throw your life away. He's like, it's okay, I got 9, and then like jumps off a building.
She
like
jumps
that,
off.
kind of like,
yep.
Yo, I don't need you, dude. And his line like, you got a lot of cats. It's just great. I love hearing Batman deliver like regular dialogue, but still in his Batman voice. It's really funny. You got a lot of cats.
I can say from the trailer, that is one thing that caught me was like, I think I actually like this iteration of the Batman voice. It's not too, it's not too Christian Bale, like over the top. Like I decided to smoke 17 packs of cigarettes a day just to make this voice.
Yeah.
It's you can tell he's trying, but also like it seems like what someone naturally would try to do to mask their voice.
Yeah. And it's more like Michael Keaton, even though like there are times in the Michael Keaton movie where he's not really trying to disguise his voice at all. Like there's like he's like, it's like a raspy whisper sometimes, but then other times he's just like straight up talking exactly like he talks as Bruce Wayne. And then Christopher Nolan movies, I liked it in Batman Begins. Dark Knight, it was kind of like way over the top, and I love the Dark Knight so much, but like there are scenes in that movie where it's like, yo, tone that little whatever you're doing in post,
right?
Back it off,
take the gain down a little.
30% less, 30% less, please. And I really like the idea that they used for Ben Affleck, where there's something in the cowl that distorts his voice. Like I thought that was a cool idea. But then I don't even know if they use that every single time. That seemed like evident in Batman vs. Superman, and I don't know if it's really evident in Justice League. I don't know. I don't remember. But I thought that was cool. But I do like the idea that, it's simpler. He's just going to talk raspy.
Right.
And that's it. It's simpler. And he still sounds like himself. Like the Christian Bale thing, and even the Ben Affleck thing was almost like, well, you almost don't even sound like the same person. Right. So it's hard for me to believe that voice is coming out of your throat, Christian Bale. Like that doesn't really make sense.
I'm literally, since we've been talking about it, I'm just hearing "Where is he?" on repeat in my head.
Yeah. Where are they?
Yeah.
Yeah. Crazy. And at the end, at the Dark Knight, when he's like Joker's hanging upside down, and the dialogue he's having with Batman, then I remember that the voice in that, he's talking like slower. He's like, "All you proved is that a city of people like you." Like, whoa, dude.
It's like a bad WWE character.
Yes. Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yep.
All right, so new trailer for the Batman. Check it out if you haven't seen it. It's definitely worth watching. I showed it to my son, actually. Like I was playing with him. My son's 5, and it's gonna be a long time before he sees this movie.
Yeah.
But I was playing with him, and somebody texted me or something, so I checked my phone, and then I just swiped up, and whatever was on my phone was like, new Batman trailer. And I was like, oh, hey, bud, you want to watch a movie trailer? And I was like, I know it's PG-13, but like they're not going to show anything that inappropriate in the trailer. He can watch it, and he loved it. So
nice.
Yeah.
I got the Star Wars question the other day.
Oh yeah.
When can we watch Star Wars?
Oh, nice.
So he's finally getting into movies. We're doing some Pixar, and actually watched that the Luca and
Luca was great.
One of the whatever the new one is.
Encanto?
No, the one before that. Encanto's the latest one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't remember what it was.
I don't know.
Either way. But
Luca was great.
Yeah, Luca was awesome, and he watched both those, and like he's kind of coming around. He's very big on like he gets into something and just is in it. So he's been on a Muppet Babies kick lately, which getting him familiar with the Muppets, I'm perfectly fine with.
Sure.
So he's been rocking that, and we've been interspersing some movies since we were off and had the time. We're like, all right, we can cut down TV time here and give him a movie. And thankfully the weather was bad enough that it cooperated with us staying inside.
Right.
So
nice.
he at the end of those, I think we were reading something or doing something that had to do with he got a stuffed Grogu for Christmas.
Nice.
And he was like, Dad, when can we watch Star Wars? And I'm like, well, son, we'll figure that out soon.
I think you're close. My son asked to watch Empire Strikes Back last night, which he had seen before, and it terrified him. So he's been hesitant to rewatch it, but then he wanted to last night. I think we made it about 10, 15 minutes before he was just like wanted to do something else. So I was like, oh, okay, fine. We'll get back here someday.
See, I'm curious with Empire because I think we've talked about it before where my son's had the little golden books of it, and my wife and I both vociferously do not read the second to last page. It's just like, oh, Luke fell down a shaft and he's magically back. Okay, cool. Yeah. But like I'm curious with Empire because he'll be at least familiar a little with the source material as to if that'll get him over the scared hump, because he's scared of everything at this point.
Yeah. Nice.
So
my son is weirdly not scared of. He's not scared of like monsters and stuff, like things that like ghosts or like things that couldn't happen. He's scared of like tension and like people getting in trouble.
Exactly.
Like we were watching The Polar Express, which is a pretty terrifying movie.
When you think about it, it's the wolves and all this stuff. And
there's some scary shit in that movie for like, I don't know if it's rated G or PG, but like still, like this is kind of dark. And there's like a scene where like a girl can't find her ticket and it's somebody's fault or whatever, something like that. And the conductor's coming and he was like, oh no, they're not gonna, she's not gonna have her ticket. Like, dude, it's okay. Like, it's not like she's gonna die.
Oh yeah.
She's not dangling off the train. But then he'll watch like a, I don't know, Scooby-Doo movie or something where there's like scary ass monsters like chasing Shaggy and he does not flinch. He just doesn't care.
Well,
actual monster.
I can take it to Muppet Babies. He was watching the one, like, there's one where they're introduced to Sweetums.
Oh, wow.
And, like, nice. There's this whole thing about, oh my God, there's a monster next door, blah, blah, blah. Like, they go through the whole thing. Cool. It's basically a replay of The Sandlot, but Sweetums is the beast. Yeah. And, like, there's all this tension and all that, but they keep talking about a monster, and he was fine that whole one. But, like, there's anything else where, like, and Nanny, they're gonna get in trouble with Nanny, and he's just like hiding his head under a pillow. I'm like, dude, it's gonna be fine. Yeah, we'll be okay. Now that we've digressed to the life and reactions of 5-year-olds, let's segue this into a trailer that we're not going to let our young sons watch.
That was going to be my segue as well. A trailer that I will not let my son watch. A new Red Band trailer for Peacemaker, the TV show spinoff of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad, which I love so very much. This comes out January 13th. This is a show that's going to come out very soon. Going to be here before we know it. I'm very excited about it. Red Band trailer, so full of just violence and language left and right. I had not watched this until right before we threw it on the rundown here, just to, fill up some time, which we're doing pretty good by just telling stories about our kids, I guess.
Right.
But I love this trailer. I mean, I didn't need to watch it. I'm sold on this show. I love Suicide Squad, and I'm excited for this continuation of that continuity. It's all in the same continuity, I guess, so far.
You had me at James Gunn and continuing on with the Peacemaker's character from Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Like, okay, sold.
Yeah. I've seen people like mostly Marvel obsessed fans that this is the case with any fandom. I think when you're so obsessed with one thing that you try to tear down other things to make your thing look better, especially when it's a Marvel versus DC thing. And I know there's DC fans that shit on Marvel stuff too, so I'm not pretending that's not. I'm just saying in this particular case, I saw a lot of seemingly big Marvel fans just giving this trailer a hard time for the beginning when he's talking to kids and says the thing about Wonder Woman effing him at a party. Just like crazy funny. And they're like, he shouldn't have said it in front of kids, and he shouldn't have, it's demeaning and blah, blah, blah. Like,
have they watched Deadpool?
Exactly. Yes. Yes.
Like this trailer made me think, oh, DC's doing a Deadpool. Okay. And James Gunn's at the helm. All right. I'm 100% in.
Yeah, I know, man. I don't get it. That it's like, it's funny. It's just a joke. Like, it's funny because he's saying it.
What? I said F.
I said effing. Yeah, exactly. Like, he says that to the teacher. Oh yeah, it's great. So no, I am stoked at this. I love how much John Cena loves being Peacemaker. Like,
you could tell that from the trailer too.
He 100%. Wears that. Yeah, and even when they were doing publicity for the Suicide Squad, he wore that suit in every interview that he was in. Every single interview, he's wearing that big dumb red suit. And yeah, I don't know. I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see, because it's like what Marvel just did last year. They started doing shows that intertwined with their universe, and they had kind of like half-assed that with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Netflix like Marvel, Daredevil, Jessica Jones stuff.
Right.
Those were like, those are part of the MCU, but as time goes on, we're going to mention less and less of it and not have anybody affected by the events of them. And, so it wasn't full on. But
until now, when we're going to bring everything back. And
yeah, right. But, sure. But like a show like, now a show like Loki or Hawkeye, WandaVision, whatever, those are clearly firmly entwined into the MCU. This is that for DC. It's the first indication of it's the first one of that, I guess. And DC has been crushing it on TV for years. Like,
absolutely.
People like DC haters love to point to their losses, but they clearly don't watch the CW or don't pay attention to the shows getting greenlit left and right on the CW or even on Fox. Like Gotham ran for 5 seasons, and like that show's crazy. And I understand people not liking that show because it's insane. But still. 5 seasons of a show is nothing to sneeze at. Like, that's cool. But the fact that they are on their feet enough that they have this like great film, Suicide Squad, and then are spinning off of it. And they just went to James Gunn, if I remember correctly, and said, if you could do a spin-off for one of the characters of Suicide Squad for HBO Max TV show, what would you do? And he said, oh, Peacemaker. And so not only is this like the first effort to do a TV show spin-off of their movie, it's coming from a very talented writer and director, and it's out of a place of passion for a character. Right. Like Warner Brothers could have gone to James Gunn and been like, we need you to make a Superman show for HBO Max, and we need you to make take the most popular character, most A-list character even, from Suicide Squad, Harley Quinn. Right. Like, we need to make a Harley Quinn show. Do it. You, James Gunn, do it. And they didn't do that. And they said, what would you like to do, James? Do whatever you want to do. Which is what they said, which is what they told him to do with Suicide Squad, which is why that movie's so fucking great.
Well, that was, they asked him, they were like, what movie do you want to do? And he's like, Suicide Squad.
Yeah, they literally said, like, you can do anything. Here's some things we have ideas for. You can do any of these. And one of them was a Superman movie. And he said, I'm going to do Suicide Squad. And then from there, we get this passion project, which he wrote all 8 episodes of and directed 5 of them, I think. So, like, I don't know. I'm excited for all of this. It's the trailer. You can't tell how much we're seeing from the trailer because it is 8 episodes. A lot of it could be from the first episode. I feel like there's a lot of like character introduction, so you never really know. I hope a lot of it is from like the first 2 or 3 episodes, and it just goes crazy places that we're not expecting. Because James Gunn is. There was a second where I snorted out loud at when I can't remember the actor's name, but Tasty from Orange Is the New Black. Oh yeah. When Cena was shooting the guys and then she's just shooting the dead bodies. I don't know why. I was just like, okay, cool. Yeah. Like we had reached a point in the trailer where I was like, this is ridiculous enough to be hilarious. All right, we're in. You don't have to shoot them if they're already dead. Right. That's great. I love that he's got a pet eagle, a pet bald eagle. It's hilarious. And they show that slow motion shot of them all walking around the corner. If you look, the eagle's like on the side, like waddling next to them.
That's great.
So funny. Oh, that's great. I'm
It'll
so
be
excited for that. It'll be good. So anyway, moving from DC, those are the two legitimate stories that we have for you, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to move to a, not super in-depth, but quick non-spoiler reaction of Book of Boba Fett episode 1. And we'll probably do a 5 or 8 minute timer for ourselves here to talk about spoilers. But first, we got the first episode of Book of Boba Fett, the new Star Wars show on Disney Plus this past Wednesday. Episode 2 coming out this Wednesday. Steve, we're both big Star Wars fans. You're a huge Star Wars fan, huge Star Wars lore. We talked about what we thought the show was going to be. We talked about what we wanted it to be. Steve, what did you think of the first episode of Book of Boba Fett? Spoiler free.
Yes. I think we're going to be hitting a lot of the places that we were hoping it went. It seems like just from what we've seen, I'm trying to think of what was in trailers of and what we know from The Mandalorian. Boba is taking over Jabba's Enterprise, sitting on the throne, doing his thing. And it seems like this is going to be, I know we've talked about it before, street level. And gritty and kind of, I think, I want to hear what your opinion is, because it is what I was looking for just out of the first episode. I mean, we've got 5 others. We're going to see where it goes. Is it 6 episodes?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
So we'll see where it goes. But coming out of the first episode, there's some flashbackery, and we'll get to flesh out more of where the story is heading. I think, spoiler free, this is a good beginning.
I agree. I think it's a very good beginning. I liked it a lot, and it was weird. Like, I was so not in a Star Wars mode when I was watching. It's like not like I'm not going to watch it or going to wait till I feel like watching Star Wars. Because at the end of the day, I always feel like watching Star Wars. I'll always enjoy it. So I was like, all right, not really feeling Star Wars right now, but I'm jumping right into it. And yeah, I thought it was great. We did get some flashbackery, some pretty cool stuff.
Yeah.
And even the non-flashbackery stuff was like, ooh, it's fun being here again.
I was wary going in about being back on Tatooine for the 7,000th time.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they made it work. Like, we haven't, I mean, yes, we spent some time in Mos Espa in the first prequels. Like, I think I was trying to remember whether we were there in episode 2 as well, but I think episode 1 and 2 we were in Mos Espa. So
for the pod race?
Huh? Yep.
Is that where the pod race is?
Yep. It was outside, and Watto's shop is in Mos Espa. So.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So
that's where Anakin is from, basically. Yep. Oh, wow. Okay.
So
I didn't put that together.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
So we're hanging around Tatooine because we all just hang around Tatooine.
Yeah,
so.
Of course. It's Star Wars. What do you think? We're gonna go. How long can we go without seeing Tatooine? Not very long.
I just want to go to Corellia. And not see just the slums that we saw in Solo.
I know. So how long should we give ourselves for a spoiler conversation?
5 minutes. We'll shoot for somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes. Like I said, check the timestamps in your podcast app if you don't want any spoilers.
Okay.
So I guess going full spoiler live in 3, 2,
1, go.
All I want to say to start is Max Rebo and Fikrin Dan.
That was amazing. Yeah. So fun. I was like, Max Rebo, yes.
Yep.
My wife's like, what? Who? I was like, the little guy.
Did you notice what they were playing?
The song? No, I didn't.
It was a jazzed up version of the Cantina theme.
No way, really?
Go back and listen to it again.
Da, 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 da.
Yeah,
really?
But they slowed it down and gave it like a backroom jazz feel to it.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's probably like
your lounge, right? Like loungy.
Yeah.
So.
I feel like I just said his name and I'm blanking. Max Rebo was like, hey, what was that tune that you guys used to do like 20 years ago or whatever? No, I guess not 20 years ago, like 5 years ago or whatever at this point. We should like redo that, man. That'd be great. Yeah, that was cool. It was cool exploring Mos Espa more. Like, it's not the Speedway, it's not Jabba's Palace. Like, it's cool just seeing what else, like, kind of like setting the table basically for like, okay, this is the kind of environment we're in. There's this club, there's these streets, whatever. I love a good rooftop chase. Always love a good rooftop chase, no matter what we're talking, what movie we're watching or show.
And Ming-Na Wen just kills it. Like,
yeah, so cool. But yeah, biggest thing I felt that we were all waiting for, Sarlacc stuff.
Yeah.
Him getting out of that, which was different than I thought and easier than I thought. He basically just like blew a hole in the side of it and climbed out.
Right. I mean, most people don't bring flamethrowers down there, but
yeah, no, that makes sense. I feel like it would have been cool if he met, because there was other people that fell down there at the same time as he did.
Yep.
It would have been cool if he had to fight somebody else
inside the Sarlacc.
The Sarlacc. That would have been cool, right?
Yeah.
It was cool that they saw there was like other like people that were deader than him or like more.
Yeah, like the Stormtrooper's armor was like.
Yeah, that was gross. Yeah. It was cool. Also, like, why didn't he just climb out the mouth? Like, he had to climb out. He just climbed out 20 feet later of sand. Like, you could have avoided all that sand, dude, if you just went straight out the open hole. Came in.
It is coarse and rough and gets everywhere.
It gets everywhere. Exactly. Yeah, just go out the mouth, dude.
Yep.
Anyway, that was great. And I loved the detail. Of course, they would add this, but I didn't think of it in my brain when I was imagining it. The wreck of Jabba's barge right next to it. That's awesome.
And the tentacle that Han shot.
Yes. Yeah. It was all just laying dead. Yeah, it was awesome.
The Jawas picking up the his armor was perfect with how Cobb Vanth gets it in Mandalorian. So yeah, they're tying all these strings together, which is great. What was the other thing I was going to say about was it Sarlacc related? I don't know. Yeah. Oh no, I'm just saying I just liked seeing Jabba's palace again. It was great. Yeah. Being in Jabba's palace, it just made me happy because I love, like, I know there's a lot of this movie has a lot of critics. I love Return of the Jedi, like, because I watched it because I saw it when I was 9. Like, any movie you see when you're 9 years old is like your favorite movie for the rest of your life. So, it definitely has its flaws. Is it a perfect movie? No, but for me, it's just like, I don't know. It's like it's a warm blanket.
It's like Steve. I was about to say those words, those exact words. I was about to say warm blanket.
Does that mean we've been doing this too long? Oh god.
Yeah. Anyway, so I just loved, seeing like the people come and like give him tributes or whatever. Like, that whole thing was great. I was like, this looks like Jabba's palace. It's the same place where
the thing I love is how bad they are at this.
Yeah, I know. I like it. Yeah, of course
they would be. Oh yeah, like I'm glad they didn't just go for it and we're like, oh yeah, we're perfect sit-ins for Bib Fortuna and what was happening.
We know exactly what we're doing. Yeah, no,
we should really get a protocol droid. Like, oh yeah, I guess that makes sense.
I did like that it wasn't like constant bumbling or whatever like that. Yeah. Like, they went to that club and they were like, oh okay, yep, here's your tithe, here's your helmet full of coins or whatever. So I did like that they are being shown some respect. It's not like they have to fight for their ground up. They're like, oh, you're the new guy, you killed the other guy, okay, yeah, here you go, we're on board, don't kill us. You look terrifying, please leave us alone. Right. Like, that should be enough.
You Jack Twi'lek, go get them some coin.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so
which
I like that
actually,
a lot.
that was nice that that for years you've gotten the Twi'lek women as the objectified whatever, like, overly sexualized, what, like the whole slave thing for Jabba and whatever.
Sure.
It was good to see that it was the men too. Like, as weird as it sounds, like that seemed like fitting to finally see. Oh yeah, okay, it's not just the women.
Yeah, exactly. Like, huge, beefy, ripped, sexy dude with his shirt off, Twi'lek. Yeah, I did like that. Just I don't know, just seeing more. I don't know. I like a bar populated with aliens.
Yeah,
like, it's great. And that's something that I guess never mind. I was about to say we don't get on Mandalorian, but we do, just like not all the time. I feel like we're going to get it more in this show because he's in a town, whereas Mando's like, in a ship or from planet to planet or whatever.
Right.
I just love a bar with crazy aliens talking to each other.
Yeah, we're gonna see a lot more of the inner workings of stuff like that. So
yeah,
that'll be. I'll be happy to see where it goes. I think for a jumping off for a series, this is about as good as we could expect.
I agree. I'm wondering who the mayor is, because they're setting the mayor up as being kind of the antagonist, and not that I think we're gonna like recognize him or know who they are or whatever when we see them, but
where he fits in.
Yeah, exactly, and how that's gonna escalate. And I don't know. I kind of hope we keep getting flashbacks. It would be cool to get other flashbacks. We got the flashback to Attack of the Clones, which was reshot. It was not the exact same scene of the boy picking up the helmet. It was reshot, which I thought it was, and I looked it up, and it definitely was. But I wonder if we're gonna get maybe young Boba flashbacks, or
if they reshot that, what I would like to see is live action shots of some of the Boba stuff we got in Clone Wars as flashbacks.
Right. Yes.
A couple 3-minute snippet of some of the stuff with Aurra Sing or with Bossk or what. Like, we've already seen Trandoshans. Well, we've already seen Bossk live action anyways.
Right.
But the interaction he had with the bounty hunters, do we see a Cad Bane face off at some point? Like, there's a lot of stuff. Maybe Cad Bane is the mayor.
Twice in a row, that's exactly what I was going to say. You're just about to take the words out of my mouth.
I got to shut up when you're looking like you're about to say something then.
No, that's fine, man. I think if there's going to be a show where we're going to get a live action Cad Bane, I think this is the show. I think this is the easiest way for them to do that for us.
Yep.
But who knows? I don't necessarily need that. I think he's great in the animated series. I don't need a live action version. I mean, it would certainly be great world building or connectivity if there was, and it would be perfect for it. But yeah, I think there's big opportunities to have other bounty hunters come in, mercenaries, whatever, just more creepy underworld tough guys, tough girls.
I did like the nod to for as their major domo. It was basically 8D8. The droid that was the one that branded the feet in Jabba's palace there. Yes. His torture droid was their major domo. It's like, okay. He got an upgrade.
Yeah, that was funny. I wonder if they do get a protocol droid, if it'll look like C-3PO.
I saw something, I don't remember where, but they either the trailer or flyer or poster or whatever, there's a picture of a 3PO head on like a platter just under where Boba's sitting in one of the promo materials. So I'd assume we'll see something somewhere, and he'll probably get mad at it.
That would be dope if they have a droid, but it's just the head of a protocol droid. That would be awesome. That'd be awesome.
Hey, here, we'll just talk to this.
Oh, and we got the same Gamorrean guards coming back.
Yep.
That was hilarious. It's not like we know who they are or care about them, but I was like, the same ones that Luke force choked as he walked into Jabba's palace. That's awesome. Yeah.
It's the little thing. It's weird because it is the little things with this show. Like, much like when they had when Solo was coming out, this is a show I did not need.
Exactly.
But now that we have it, I'm very glad we have it.
Exactly. And I think that's why when I wasn't like super hyped to start watching it, I wasn't like, oh yeah, here we go. I was just like, all right, this is going to be good. I hope. And I'm excited to watch it because I love Star Wars. And it's like, yep, this is great. Similar to Solo. Yeah. Yep. So I'm very excited to see where it goes from here. Yeah, it was great. So that was about 10 minutes and 24 seconds. So we're done. If you're watching, here's my signal. You can unmute. Thanks for hanging out for 10 minutes. You probably didn't. Nobody did that. Yeah. But anyway. Moving into comics. No comics news that we know of this week necessarily, but we do have some announcements of what's coming out this coming week. Comics don't stop, yo. Comics came out last week. Comics coming out this week. Comics don't stop. Just like the Multiverse Report doesn't stop, by the way. I'm sure there's lots of podcasts out there that took time off for the holidays. Day after Christmas, episode.
Right
Day
back
after
at
New
it.
Year's Day, episode. Week before Christmas, 2 episodes, yo. Multiverse Report. We don't stop. We have to reschedule sometimes, but we don't stop. Anyway, similar to comic books, this week in comic books, we got Amazing Spider-Man 84. I feel like I just need to stop saying and just everyone listening should just assume that a new issue of Amazing Spider-Man
Yeah,
is
at this
out,
point.
because
It's
it
like
always is.
3 out of 4 weeks, we're going to be mentioning it, I guess.
I really should say no new Amazing Spider-Man this week.
Yeah. It didn't come out this week.
It didn't come out. Batman 119, new creative team, their second issue of the new arc. Black Widow 13, Cap Iron Man number 2, DC Horror presents Soul Plumber number 4, Hellboy Bones of Giants number 3, Magic the Gathering number 10, Monkey Meat number 1. I don't know what that is. I just saw it on the list and I immediately put it in. I have no idea who publishes it or what it's about, but it's called Monkey Meat. Definitely worth checking out for the title alone. Shang-Chi number 7, Star Wars Dr. Aphra number 17, Superman Son of Kal-El number 6, Marvel's Wastelanders Doom number 1, their post-apocalyptic series that they're doing. It was one about Victor Von Doom, and X-Men number 6. Steve, I had some time off this week. I think you had some time off as well. Did you have any time to dig into that stack that you have? And if so, what did you read and was it good?
No, I made some more headway in the Hawkeye in the Aja Fraction run, and actually most of my time was taken by getting into not even the latest, because the latest High Republic novel came out this month, or is coming out tomorrow. It's showing up on my doorstep, so I had to kind of keep working on the backlog there.
That's
right.
I
chipped away at a backlog, just not the comics.
Yeah. I forget that you read actual books as well.
Sometimes.
I just read comic books. All right. Yeah, no, I have quite a bit of a stack at this point as well that I'm trying to chip away at, and I put the tiniest of dents in it this week, catching up on. I don't even remember at this point. So long ago. I think the first issue of Batgirls I read, and some. Oh, I mentioned last week that I read that Nightwing, and yeah.
You said you caught up on Something is Killing.
Yes, and I caught up on Something is Killing the Children. I haven't read House of Slaughter yet, but it's on my list. I'm getting to it. So
Can
anyway,
confirm.
slowly
It's
but
good.
surely. I'm sure that it is. Is Something is Killing the Children on hiatus while House of Slaughter is happening? Have they just like taken the place? Like they're not doing 2 at the same time,
I think
right?
he's doing 2 at the same time.
Oh, really? I feel like I haven't gotten a new Something is Killing the Children issue in a while.
It's James Tynion. He's just going to do 75 books all at the same. I mean, there's Nice House on the Lake is still going. Like,
I mean, he told us when he left DC, he was leaving, or when he left Batman, it was because he couldn't keep writing Batman and write all these other things at the same time. So
he's like, I want to write all the other stuff. So
yeah, so that tracks. All right, like we said earlier, we're going to end this episode. I don't think this episode is going to be a short episode like we thought. I think we're going to fill the time. Yeah.
We're already at 48 minutes, Mike.
Exactly. So who knows how long it'll take to talk about this? Maybe 10 minutes, maybe more. We're going to go through, each of us will want to trade off. We'll go back and forth.
Sure.
And talk about each other's.
Yeah.
So we're each going to name our favorite nerdy movie, TV show, comic or comic series from 2021, and also an honorable mention from any of those categories or beyond that we want to shout out. And then we're going to talk about our most anticipated movie, TV, comic series, and honorable mention, most anticipated whatever for 2022. Because that's not a word. As I mentioned last week, or if you listened to last week's episode, I should say, we ended last week's episode with a huge list of all just the movies and TV shows that are set to debut in 2022. And boy, was that a long list of things. Just an embarrassment of riches we're facing in 2022 for us nerdy fans of comic book adaptations and things of the like. So, Steve, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Sure. Why don't we start with comics from last year?
Favorite comic or comic series from 2021?
Yeah. We've already mentioned it on the podcast. I have to go with Something Is Killing the Children. That is.
I thought you might.
It's literally the one book that has kept, every time I get one, I have to read it. That's literally the only thing on my pull that every time I thumb through, I'm like, okay, let's pull that one out because it's getting read today.
Yep.
So.
It is I agree with you on that. I almost had it for mine.
Yep.
But I went in another direction. But Something Is Killing the Children is something that, no matter how many, it's a pretty brutal book. I'm not always in the mood to read something so brutal. So like, it's not, I don't always like, it's not always the first thing that I read when I pick it up, because I'm like, I gotta be like ready. I might see an 8-year-old get ripped in half in this book. Like I may not have, maybe not in the mood for that right now.
Yeah.
But every time I read it, it is incredibly engrossing and just captivating in such an amazing way. And even when the first arc ended and the second arc started, I was like, oh, it's like a prequel. Like, I want to learn more about the main character, Erica, because we learn so little about her. She's just there, like, she's just on a mission. And they hint at things. So I was like, okay, I want to know more about her, but like, I don't know, she's like a little girl in the second arc. Like, is this going to be interesting? And immediately I was like, wow, yes, this is interesting and amazing. And I'm into this so hard. So yeah, great pick. Something Is Killing the Children. If anyone out there listening to this likes horror books, horror comics, it's like, I don't know, it's like R-rated Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I don't know. I think I might have made that thing before. That thing, comparison is the word I'm looking for.
Words are hard.
Check it out. I know there's collections available at this point. It's just really, really great. Very streamlined storytelling. There's not a lot of fat in any issue, and the panel layouts are cool. Sometimes they go like across 2 pages, and
Werther Dell'Edera kills it with the art too. Like, it fits, and he's actually doing House of Slaughter with Tinian as well. And that art just it fits with what James Tinian is doing with the story. So it had to be where I went.
It's crazy that I love this about the book. In every book, there is a 2-page spread of the title of the book that just says, huge letters, Something Is Killing the Children, over 2 full pages. Do you know how much more like story and stuff you could put in a book if you had 2 extra pages? Like, that's a lot.
Yeah.
And they throw away 2 pages every book to just do a dramatic splash reveal of the title, and I absolutely love it. I love it so much. It's it's like a movie when like the title comes up, cute, like gives you like an effect every time. It works for me every time.
You get the cold open and then the title and then the rest of the meat.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Sometimes it actually is the rest of the meat, depending on what edition it is. So.
Yeah, exactly. I wasn't, when I said ripped in half, that's a minor spoiler.
Right. That's a every couple episodes thing. Yeah.
My favorite comic series of this year, I thought about Something Is Killing Children. I gave it to Tom King, Mitch Gerads, Doc Shaner's Strange Adventures, published from DC, Black Label. The character of Adam Strange is like he's got a jetpack and a helmet and a ray gun, and he's pew pew, and like he travels to another planet and between Earth and another planet. He can't control when he's pulled to the other planet, when he's pulled to Earth. So he kind of lives 2 lives, and he's like a C-list DC character that no one's done anything monumental with him in a long time, similar to Tom King and Mitch Gerads' Mr. Miracle. Yeah.
Or even Vision at the time.
Or even Vision, exactly. Yeah.
Or rather, King, the take on Vision.
Yes, and we've said this about Tom King on this podcast in the past. He has a really good knack for finding something interesting about any character.
Yep.
But he really shines when he can find, I think, a character that hasn't been used or could be used in a new way, or like kind of reinventing or finding some new ground to cover with a character that might seem a little one-dimensional from the outside. And the way the story is told is incredible. I mentioned it's both Mitch Gerads and Doc Shaner on art. Mitch Gerads draws the story is told in 2 time frames. There's flashbacks to a war that's going on, and there's the main current time frame. Mitch Gerads draws one, Doc Shaner draws the other.
Okay.
So you can tell. So you can easily tell where the flashbacks are happening. It's very interesting. It's super. Doc Shaner is like super clean lines and bright colors, and Mitch Gerard's is a little more like
Mitch Gerard's
murky and yeah. So good. The Adam Strange's wife, Alana, is a main character in it, and that's a character that I was not familiar with at all. But they write her like this, like absolute shark in the water, no bullshit kind of character that's just so great. Great. Another C-list character, Mr. Terrific, is in it. That's a much beloved but not well known DC character. Big role in it. I don't know. It's just so cool. There's a twist in it that you do not see coming from a mile away. It's so great. Like I know, Steve, it's on your stack. I got to say, Strange Adventures was my top pick, and it was tough because I read a lot of amazing comics this year. Yeah, so that's fine.
Yeah. I guess I can't wait until I can actually talk to you about that because it's on. Yeah, the hardcover is literally sitting right over there. Yeah. So, I guess we might as well pop some honorable mentions out there. I had to go with Way of X by Cy Spurrier. It was
nice.
So with the whole Dawn of X and the Hickman verse for X-Men, and people at this point know I'm an X-Men guy. Kurt Wagner was completely non-existent for a lot of it. And this brought him back into the spotlight, and it was a good shout to see Nightcrawler back, and doing it was very characteristic of Nightcrawler, and it felt like it was a good Nightcrawler book. So
amazing, awesome. Did you have honorable mentions for every category?
I did basically just one or two for each category. Yeah.
Oh, see, I didn't. Okay, but I will now. I'll do it on the fly. My honorable mention for comic, just going somewhere other than where you went, is, let's see. I'm trying to say things that I'm not going to say later, but I'm going to go with a curveball. I'm going to go with a book from Image called The Me You Love in the Dark, which was a short, I think it was only 5 or 6 issues. I think I have the last issue that I haven't read yet.
Yep.
It was a very simple, very short horror story about an artist, a painter that is seeking a new place to find some inspiration for a new series that she's trying to work on. She finds a house. House turns out to be haunted. Like, that's all I'm going to say. Nice. And, it's similar to Something is Killing the Children in that it's not the most, like, on the base level, it's not the most original story.
Yeah.
Like, Something is Killing the Children is like, there's a monster in town. Someone's going to show up and kill the monster. Like, it's really Buffy. It could be a Buffy the Vampire Slayer story.
Right.
If they told R-rated Buffy the Vampire Slayer stories. I don't think they do. I know there's comics, and I've read a lot of them, but they're mostly PG-13. But it's like, you can tell a similar story, but if you're telling it in a new and captivating way, it makes all the difference. And that's the same thing for this Me You Love in the Dark, where, we've seen haunted house stories before. There's definitely some twists and turns with this, and it's about the art, the way it's drawn. It sucks you in a way that not all stories do. And so I don't necessarily see that book flying off the shelves, or I don't read a lot about that book catching fire. But that's my honorable mention / recommendation for anybody out there that's looking for a good creepy.
Nice.
And I don't know that it's going to move on. I think it's only the 5 or 6 issues. I don't think it's going more than that. I could be wrong.
That works.
And I'll look into that. But if you just want
pick the trade up there,
an interesting trade, yeah. The Me You Love in the Dark from Image. I don't remember the creators team off the top of my head right now, so I can't shout them out. But definitely worth checking out.
All right. So,
do you want to do movie or TV show next?
Let's do movie next. You can lead this one off.
Mine, again, is something we have mentioned previously on this very episode. I got to go with The Suicide Squad. James Gunn's The Suicide Squad was something I didn't expect to ever happen after the first Suicide Squad movie came out, and wasn't great. There's great things about that movie, but the full execution, not great for a million different reasons. Studio, blah, blah, blah. We all know that story. I'm not going to go into that now. So, I mean, when they announced James Gunn's making a Suicide Squad movie, I was like, this, to me, doesn't really make a ton of sense, but it also kind of does, because James Gunn can do whatever he wants, and he's good at creating ragtag groups of misfits from C and D list superhero
He
characters.
he literally has a track record of doing this.
Exactly, yeah. So at first I was like, what? And then, after 10 minutes of thinking about it, I was like, oh, it actually makes perfect sense. Would I have rather, at that time, if you had said, if you had asked me at that time, I would have said, yeah, I much would have rather seen James Gunn do a Superman movie because I want another Superman movie. But I cannot argue with the results of this film. No. It's it's so fun and funny and violent and visceral and really leans into that hard R rating that it has. And it balances so many different characters and gives everybody an arc. It gives everybody like emotional depth. Even someone like King Shark, which is a really one-dimensional character, but is so fun and funny. And like they don't treat him like he is funny and he's comic relief, but they don't necessarily treat him like a joke. Like he's a real character throughout the movie, and he does have an arc, and he does learn things about himself, and he learns how to make friends. And so it's just even like little things like that are crazy. And like, it's crazy that you would spend the time to do that with a character like King Shark in the hands of a different filmmaker. It would be a one-off. He's a monster. He's dumb,
right?
Or whatever. But James Gunn really gives him some heart, and to take a character like Polka Dot Man, who is an absolute joke, and make him this work. like just so like depressing and sad and just like make it work, like you said. I don't know, like, but then also turn around and able to incorporate Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn in such an absolute perfect way that picks up perfectly from Birds of Prey, rolls right into this movie. She's written incredibly. She gets great action sequences. I don't know, everything about this movie I love. That was like, I think Christmas night, I was my wife had gone to sleep, I was still awake. I was like, it's Christmas. I'm not going to like do any work. I'm not going to like write anything or whatever. Right. So I'm relaxing. I'm having a couple drinks. What is something I can watch? It's just going to make me happy. And I was like, oh, The Suicide Squad. Right. So popped in that Blu-ray and I was like, yep, this is amazing. This is a DC movie. I mean, spoilers if you haven't seen Suicide Squad. Starro the Conqueror is in this movie. And that is something I thought I would never see in any movie ever. And yet here we are. It already exists, and I've seen it 4 times.
Something that will forever be etched in my mind is my wife's reaction when Starro starts expelling other starfish.
Yeah, dude,
and it's just like, I don't know what's happening, but it's hilarious.
Because at first you're like, oh, this is a big joke. And then you're like, oh, this is terrifying. Yeah. He can mind control other people. This is horrible. Yeah. Oh, so great. Anyway, that's my movie. What's your movie, Steve?
My movie, sticking with the DC versus Marvel thing, would have to go with something we've talked about a couple of times on this podcast. So we couldn't go an entire episode without talking about Spider-Man No Way Home.
Of course.
I mean, we touched on it. If anybody wants to see our thoughts, we talked about it for more than an hour. But,
the whole episode.
But yeah, I mean, it capped the year off of a bit of a up and down year for Marvel movies, from confusion and whatever the Eternals ended up being that I still haven't seen.
Me either. Can't wait though. Next month, right? Isn't it January?
February 1.
Yeah. February. 1st. Damn it. Okay.
So we'll end up figuring that out. But No Way Home was a perfect cap to a storyline that we didn't know we needed a cap to, and it really put a star on the top of the tree of all 6 Spider-Man movies. And I don't know, it was just a feel-good time of let's drink from the nostalgia bucket and yet still put a solid story forward that worked as a movie and as the end of this epic run.
Yes, I agree. And I know if you know me in real life or have listened to that spoiler review, you do, or have listened to our spoiler review of Spider-Man No Way Home, you know that I was a little more negative on that movie when we talked about it. But honestly, since I've seen it, I am just so dying to see it a second time. To go in without the, how you going to make this? Without the attitude, like, I am just dying to see this movie, and I I knew this wasn't going to happen, but I was like, just please, 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 Sony and Disney, give us all a Christmas present and drop this movie on Disney Plus. Like, you already made over $1 billion. Like, just please, just give it to us on streaming so I can watch it again, because I'm not going back to the theater right now. They didn't, and they're not. They're going to soak up their money. But it will be interesting to see when that is going to go to streaming, whether it's Netflix or whatever the Sony deal is right now. Because, you know, a lot of movies have been going sooner because less people have been going to the theater, but this movie made over $1 billion in the theater. No movie's done that.
Going for this theater.
Exactly. No movie's done that since the pandemic started. So it'll be interesting to see how long that stays in theaters, or how much, if it's still a 40-something day window until it drops somewhere, wherever it's going to drop. So. But yeah, much well-deserved movie. You know, definitely in my top list of nerdy movies for the year. How could it not be? How could it not be? But for me, Suicide Squad just had, like, you know, the negative things that I felt about Spider-Man No Way Home. I did not feel them at all about Suicide Squad, so I had to give that one the upper hand.
Now, full disclosure, Suicide Squad was my honorable mention I wrote down. So.
Oh, amazing! Yeah.
It was good, too good to not write down.
Yeah, it was just a great movie, and and that's not, like, yeah, I love DC and I love Harley and I love the Suicide Squad in general, but like, I don't have an emotional connection to any of those characters other than Harley.
Yeah,
really, like, not even ones from the, like, Captain Boomerang or Rick Flag from the first movie. Like, I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, they're there. Like, I'm here to just watch a movie. I wasn't like, I'm going into, like, the Batman movie, like, you better be Batman or I'm gonna be mad. You know, like, I don't have expectations here.
Right.
Yeah, blew me away. So, all right, TV best of 2021. Steve, television show, go.
All right. Hot take. Things that would not be expected to be Steve's number one comic book related TV show.
I'm excited.
Robert Kirkman's Invincible.
Whoa, I forgot all about Invincible.
Yeah.
I forgot that even happened.
That adaptation was just beautiful. Like, it was just a phenomenally animated, phenomenally well done adaptation. Like, it was good.
Man, I'm mad that I forgot that. I didn't even consider that. I don't think it would have made I wouldn't have made my number one still, but I can't believe that I didn't even think of that, because that is a show that made me cry.
Yeah. And I went in with no expectations because I hadn't read the book.
Yeah, I had read volume 1 like
way back
many years ago. So many years ago. A friend let me borrow it. Mm-hmm. And I read it, and I clearly did not retain any of it because it was all new to me.
Yep.
I think I think they paced it differently than they paced the book. Like, I think I just got through him, like, finding out that he has his powers and working with it. I don't think there was any hint of his dad being who his dad was in the book that I read. Or if there was, again, I just did not remember it at all. So,
yeah, dude, I agree. His dad, this was the year of
J.K. Simmons.
I kept wanting to say J. Jonah Jameson. But yeah, this was J.K. Simmons' year.
He's the dad in Invincible. He's back as J. Jonah Jameson. He came back as Commissioner Gordon in Zack Snyder's Justice League. Like, and what I feel like I heard him in. He did a voice in one or two other things that I recently watched, and now I don't remember what they were. But yeah, he was all over the place this year. That dude is rolling in nerd money at this point. Good for him.
Hey,
he deserves it.
He's found a niche.
Yeah,
all things nerd.
Sorry, did you say your honorable mention for TV? No, why would you? You said your
no, because you haven't said your.
I haven't said mine, of course. Why am I thinking it? This took me a second to think of. I was like going between a couple, and then when I remembered my number one, I was like, oh yeah, obviously. Why am I thinking of anything else that could touch this? WandaVision is my number one TV. Because this is nothing that I haven't said in this podcast before, but I came into 2021 still being kind of like burnt out from MCU content.
Yeah.
I was really glad that Black Widow got delayed because I really wanted a Black Widow movie. But after Endgame, after the incredible ending that Endgame gave us, and then for me, Spider-Man Far From Home doesn't really work. I don't love that movie. It was kind of a letdown for me. So like, I was like, okay, you gave me a great ending, and I didn't like the epilogue, so I'm done. And like, I'm glad that the only reason I would ever be glad that there'd be a global pandemic that closes theaters is that it gave me a break from the MCU, that I didn't have to watch Black Widow like in May, and I didn't have to like, just keep up all that stuff. I am not actually glad for any way, shape, or form there's been a global pandemic. I just want to say that right now. That was a possibly poor taste joke that I just made. I do not, in any stretch of the imagination, wish that there had been a global pandemic. Quite the opposite. I would rather be still burnt out from the MCU.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So anyway, I went into WandaVision with, I guess, no expectations, but also like, all right, give me the same formula that I'm used to with the MCU. And that's not what that was at all. And the first 2 episodes, I did not know what it was going to be. By the end of it, I was like, this is something special. They figured out how to use the format of episodic television in a way that has never been done, and I don't think could ever be replicated without being a blatant ripoff of this show. And I'm somebody that wasn't really interested in, I mean, I was interested, as I talked about them all the time, like the conspiracy theories, and this might mean Mephisto, and this might mean this, and blah, 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 blah. But like, at the end of the day, I was so glad that it was just like, it was crazy and wild and out there, but it was just a story about her and her grief.
Yeah.
And what she did to overcome her grief, which was just so powerful and such a better story than it would have been if they were like, and here come the X-Men in like the final episode or something dumb. Like, no, it's about her. I do
love the reference in the Doctor Strange trailer, though. I know, I'm sorry, I'm not here about Westview.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, exactly.
What do you hear about?
Yeah. But yeah, no, I just loved it. And like the fact that it was a mystery and you didn't know what was going to happen, and every episode ended with like a what? It was kind of like, it was like reminded me of watching Lost or something.
Yeah.
Where like other Marvel shows, I know somebody that would really highly recommend it. I would also, I think it's really.
I feel like I know the same person who's probably yelled at me about that before.
Yeah. It's mostly very good. I'll say that. Yeah, it's just like, and I don't think many Marvel shows have really done that since, where every episode ends with a, oh my gosh, what does that mean? I can't wait for the next one. Like, you're excited to watch Falcon Winter Soldier and Loki and Hawkeye, whatever, but like WandaVision was just next level for me. So that far and away was my number one. What was your honorable mention?
So similar to like you talk about the episodic and like keep you wondering what's happening next. I did throw Loki down. That said, I did also have to give a shout to one that we mentioned when it was coming out, and unfortunately got not picked up for season 2, but Why the Last Man.
That was mine as well. Why the Last Man. Yep.
They did a damn good job of it, and for some reason,
so good. It was so good, and it's such a shame that it's not moving forward. Everybody in it was so good. The changes that they made from the book, I thought were brilliant.
Yeah,
and such a good way to space out a TV show and to like introduce new characters and make us care about new characters and just flesh out everybody.
Yeah, I hope Netflix picks it up, or HBO, or whoever we said. I know there was somebody that was looking at picking it up. I think it might have been HBO Max.
It would make sense if it was HBO Max because it was a Vertigo book, and Vertigo is Vertigo is owned by DC, but I don't know. I feel like there's been a lot of time that's gone by and I haven't heard anything. So something tells me it's maybe dead in the water. And I feel like this is a show that needs to be in the conversation of, when people talk about shows that only got one season that was a tragedy, everyone talks about Firefly or whatever, but like this show deserves to be in that conversation. And it's just a bummer that it wasn't on a streaming service to begin with. Like, it would have done so much better if it started on Netflix or HBO Max or whatever, or even, I mean, I watched it on Hulu, but it was on FX. It wasn't like an exclusive where, Netflix would have been advertising the shit out of it, and HBO Max would have been advertising it like crazy.
Right, they would have been splash screens as soon as you logged in, like, hey, it's here. This is our new thing. Suggested for you.
And not just a commercial on actual TV that nobody watches anymore, whatever.
I can't remember talking to my in-laws the other day, and they were like, did you see this commercial? I'm like, nope, definitely didn't.
Yeah, you're like, no, I didn't. You know why? Because I don't see any commercials anymore.
I avoid commercials like the plague.
Yeah, I watch commercials for 3 seconds until I can hit skip ad, and that's it. And I'm done.
I watch a commercial if somebody says, hey, watch this commercial.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Anyway, other honorable mention I had to throw out there was Doom Patrol. Because that
See,
crazy good.
I couldn't throw it out there because I haven't caught up to what came out in 21, so it probably would have been right there.
Yeah. Just continues to be insane and great at the same time. So always perpetual shout out for Doom Patrol. So, okay, that was our best of 2021 list, Multiverse Report. Let's move on. And we don't have too much more to dive into necessarily, but we can certainly list and discuss briefly our most anticipated things for 2022. Want to start and do the same order? Comic, TV, movie?
Absolutely.
No, we did TV show last. So
comic, movie, TV. Yeah, that works.
You did comic first, so should I do comic first this time?
Yeah, go for it.
I most anticipated, honestly, this is kind of like a cop-out because it's already happening, but I anticipate more of Tom Taylor's Nightwing run. I just want more of it.
Yeah.
It's been so good. He's had Bruno Ronaldo is the artist. I think I said his last name right. I'm not sure. And I gotta say, I haven't noticed this until the most recent Nightwing, the Nightwing 87, which was like the one.
Yeah,
it's all one continuous issue. They're credited as, it doesn't say like Tom Taylor writer, Bruno Ronaldo artist. It says Tom Taylor, Bruno Ronaldo storytellers. Amazing. So cool.
Yeah.
Like, it's just giving the artist the credit for like developing the story, which is like so true. Anyway, Tom Taylor has said a number of times that they have plans to stay on Nightwing for a very long time, and they have a lot of plans for the character. And
nice.
Everything they've done so far has been incredible. I've never read this many issues of a Nightwing book. I usually enjoy, like I said earlier, like I enjoy him as a side character to Batman. But never found, it's not like I never found him super compelling, but it was just like, there was never a reason for me to pick up a Nightwing book, I felt, until now, or to continually follow a Nightwing book, to add it to my list, I should say. And this has done that for me. It's just like, it's just top tier Bat family writing. He just really understands the character, and it's a lot of heart for other characters. So I just want more of that. More.
I probably will, coming into 2022, be with you, because I just got the first collected for.
Oh, you did? Great.
Yeah, for that run.
Awesome,
just, I had heard from you and everybody else, I'd heard enough that I was just like, you know what?
Great.
It's out. I'm getting it. So I did.
Awesome.
Personally, it would have to be a indie book from two creators that are breaking away from Marvel. Donny Cates and Ryan Stegman are I think they started their own imprint, Kids Love Chains, which was based on an old not Seth MacFarlane, Todd McFarlane quote. And so they signed one of those Substack deals.
Oh yeah,
and they're developing the book, which is called Vanish. Not a ton out about it. It's going to be a team of superheroes and whatever, but based on his work, that team's work on Venom and a couple other things that Cates has done, like Thor. It was well worth, like it's one of those where I'm like, I really want to see this, and it's coming out in print in I think Image is picking it up.
Oh, amazing.
So, we'll hopefully be able to see that in 2022. So that's my my A+.
Awesome, man. Yeah, Donny Cates is a great writer.
Yep.
Down for anything he had to say. My honorable mention for comics, it's an honorable mention because I'm very excited about it, but I don't know what it is. But I know that Tom King and Mitch Gerads have teased that they have a new project that they're working on that is going to debut in 2022.
Nice.
So I can't give any more details because there aren't any more details. But I love when those two work together, and I'm excited to see what it is.
My honorable mention would have to be The Amazing Shakes #1.
Yes, thank you.
By Mike Gibson and Riley McFarlane.
Aww.
So I had I had 2 books down, and I was like, I got to stick with the Shakes.
Thanks, Steve.
You beat out Ben Percy's X Lives and X Deaths Wolverine. So you beat Wolvie for me, my friend.
Take that, Wolverine. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm excited. I realized the other day that 2022 is the year that my comic book will exist in a physical form. I'm very excited and terrified about that at the same time. It's a lot of emotions going on. So movie. I did movie first last time. Steve, what's your most anticipated film of 2022?
Well, I guarantee, and I'm saying this, I guarantee that my choice is probably your honorable mention.
I bet it is too.
Yeah. It would involve somebody we've already talked about.
Quite a bit.
May wear some spandex from time to time, and a couple of his friends from across the multiverse. Literally Spider-Man across the multiverse. It's gonna be amazing. You can't be good.
You didn't say the title right. It's Spider-Man Across the Multiverse Part 1.
Oh yeah.
Don't forget that Part 1. That Part 1 is big.
Because we can't just be original and come up with a different name for Part 3. Like
no.
Infinity War was Infinity War, Endgame was Endgame. Like it wasn't Infinity War Part 1, Infinity War Part 2.
Right. No, that Part 1 makes me real excited because they got plans. Yeah. And I can't wait to see them. So anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off for my dumb joke.
Oh, no. It was like the dumb joke fit perfectly. Don't worry.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, and I purposely did not put what is going to be your number one. I guarantee it as my honorable mention, just because there's so much other crap coming out this year. Yeah. So I will let you have the honors, sir.
Yeah, this is obvious, as yours was obvious, as I knew that was going to be yours, and honestly, it was almost mine. It was almost Spider-Man, but when it comes down to it, Batman's my guy, and my most anticipated film is The Batman, that comes out on my birthday. What better way to spend a birthday than trying to dodge COVID in a movie theater watching a new movie about your favorite superhero? I mean, we talked about it. You could hear I'm sure you could hear how excited I was when we were talking about the trailer earlier. Like, it just looks great. Yeah. It looks realistic, but also comic booky at the same time. It just looks like a really cool take on my favorite character. And I just really like that it seems like he's populating Gotham City with other characters and not just like Christopher Nolan. Those movies, most of those movies are really great. But he could have done a little bit more, like, there's no reason that an Oswald Cobblepot couldn't have been just a side character in one movie, or, you could have just thrown in an Easter egg or something like that. He wasn't great with Easter eggs. And this guy, like, we're getting a movie with Batman, Catwoman, Penguin, Riddler, Carmine Falcone, Alfred Gordon, like all these characters are already in it that we know of. And I don't know. It just seems like he really understands the comics. He really understands the characters, just based on these trailers and things I've heard him say. And I'm very excited about it. How could I not be? My honorable mention was Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. But it also could have been one of the thousands of other great movies that we're going to get this year. Thor, Love and Thunder, The Flash, for God's sake. Like, I'm dying to see Michael Keaton come back as Batman. So, like, there's so much we're getting this year.
Right.
But when it came down to it, I couldn't not say The Batman.
Absolutely. And that's I threw down Thor, as you mentioned, and Wakanda Forever as well.
Yeah, I know.
This year's going to be just blockbuster after block. It's going to be like that run where it was I think it was Infinity War, Deadpool, and Solo all in the same month, like all within a 1 month span, and it's just like, okay, cool. I'm just gonna live in a movie theater.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot. But that's the thing. Like, are we? Because right now,
I'm not.
The numbers where Steve and I are right now are at a point where I do not feel comfortable going back to a movie theater, even though I was there last month. But I guess we'll have to see how things go and how I feel about it or whatever. But like, it would be a real bummer if we have this amazing glut of superhero films coming out this year and neither of us go to see any of them and just can't talk about them on our nerd podcast. But I guess we'll see how we handle that.
I'm secretly praying for something from HBO and DC saying, hey, we're going to release stuff again.
Yeah. Hey, we're doing the same thing. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great. I'm
not holding my breath, but also the other Dune. The other Dune's coming out too.
That's coming out in 2022?
I thought so. I thought that's what it said.
No.
Oh, no, that's 23. That's 23.
Okay, yeah. Because I don't think it starts filming until...
Right.
They're still making it. It's like they're filming it and releasing it within a year.
Yeah.
Which is insane for a movie of that like size and scope and the way that first one looked. Like, you're going to do that in a year?
Yeah, because they didn't even greenlight it until after.
I know. Crazy. But yeah, I didn't love a lot about 2021, but one thing I did love was the fact that HBO Max did day and date releases of all their movies. That was awesome. And I really am going to miss that for sure. TV. I gotta say, my most anticipated, this was tough for me. Because again, a lot of great stuff coming out in 2022. But I had to follow my heart, Steve. And when I listened to my heart, it said Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi. It's my most anticipated television show of 2022. I just can't wait to see what that show is going to be about. I know I've gotten flack on this podcast before for saying the prequels are trash or whatever. I'm sorry. I just don't like the prequels very much. I just don't think they're very good movies. My hope here's the problem is that I'm getting my hopes up.
Right.
The problem is that I want Obi-Wan Kenobi to be what I wanted the prequels to be, and it wasn't. I wanted the prequels to be badass Obi-Wan fighting young Darth Vader or newly transformed Darth Vader or whatever, and that barely happened. But we know that they're both going to be in it. I just have super high hopes for this.
Yeah.
This is unlike Book of Boba Fett, which I sat down and be like, okay, show me what you got. Here I am, arms crossed. Impress me, Book of Boba Fett. Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm going to go to with my, just drooling, mouth open, eyeballs in the shapes of hearts pounding out of my face. Like, I'm ready, please. I'm ready. Here, I'm ready. Come on, Obi-Wan, let's do this.
Yeah, that's... Yeah.
And so that's my number one most anticipated. And again, we don't know much about it at all, but I can't wait for a trailer and to see when it's coming out. We don't even really know when it's going to happen, but that's my number one.
I was just trying to look for a date on there, but it doesn't look like it. But as you can imagine, that is also mine.
Oh, really? Wow. Awesome.
Yeah. So that, I mean,
high five.
The or nowadays, what the elbow thing?
Yeah, elbow. Yeah.
But yeah, Kenobi, he's always been. I mean, I literally like showcase. Well, you can't see it; it's blacked out or shaded out by the light. But the action figure variant up there is a signed JTC John Tyler Christopher action figure variant of Count Dooku that was the classic Obi-Wan. Like the General Kenobi figure that he did as the cover, and but he Kenobi has always been one of my favorite characters, and to see this fleshed out is going to be like you said, I'm just getting my hopes up, and with the tough slate that is coming out, like I don't know if there's anything else you would have anticipated it being.
I know,
like it's
I don't know.
It's going to be good. Hopefully.
We're getting other Star Wars stuff. We're getting other Marvel stuff. It could have been a Marvel thing, for you, but I don't know.
My honorable mention was Moon Knight because that's, again, we're back to the street level. Even though, Khonshu's going to have some say in it. Like gods can do their thing, but it's going to ultimately be a Moon Knight book or show that's street level. So,
back to Obi-Wan real quick. I just feel like what I want it to do. Well, like you said, Obi-Wan's one of your favorite characters, and he is great. But I feel like, for the most people, even in Clone Wars, you get more of his character in Clone Wars. But not a ton. Like, he is a great character. He's very important to the Star Wars universe that we know and the Star Wars story that we've been told so far, but we've never gotten a lot of like just spotlight on Obi-Wan. Like, even in the prequels, he's a main character, but all of his scenes are mostly like action scenes, or he's like training Anakin, or so yelling at Anakin or something, or he's fighting somebody. Like, there's not a lot of like real character development there.
Yeah.
You know, he's got some emotional scenes in Sith with Padme or with Anakin and stuff, but like that's all very few and far between. Like, we don't get a ton of those in the first two,
right?
Because they're so focused on Anakin, or Qui-Gon, or Anakin and Padme falling in love or whatever. Like, there's no room for Obi-Wan really to develop. We're just like, yeah, here's this like stoic, great Jedi guy that you remember him from the other movies. Yeah, he's just younger now.
Right.
We don't need to do a whole lot of character work here. Go forth.
You remember this one famous actor? Here's a different famous actor that's playing him.
Different famous actor. Yeah. Don't really think about how much they don't sound alike and just go forward. So that's another reason I'm really excited for this show to actually give us some like inner workings of Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Oh, yeah.
Why does he call himself Ben? Where's that name come from? I would love a connection as to why he decides to lie his ass off to Luke when he finally meets adult or an 18-year-old Luke or whatever. Like, why lie about not recognizing R2? Why lie about the father thing? Why are you doing all of this? Like, maybe give us some reason as to why you can't be honest with the guy that you've been protecting for 18 years. Like,
now, to be fair, there's got to be a good reason, because R2 wasn't. It's not like he tweedled his way into, hey, I know you.
Yeah, that's true.
So maybe we'll find that out. But like, for me, it was Kenobi also, the old EU, there was a bunch of stuff out regarding, like, John Jackson Miller actually had a novel, a Kenobi novel, that was dealing with his time on Tatooine and like what happened while he was on Tatooine. And it was awesome. And if they take some of that for this show, it's going to be amazing. So I'm looking forward to all that. The Obi-Wan and Anakin, Charles Soule comic. I don't know if you read that at all, but it's worth. Well, I'll throw it on your pile. But it's like you get a lot more of that character development, and I think we're in for something good.
I agree. I think we're in for something good. My honorable mention, we already talked about it, Peacemaker, which is, it's only because it's spinning out of my favorite movie of the last year. Like, I didn't expect to think that Peacemaker was like an engaging character.
Yeah.
But you made me think that he was. And it's like, you gave me this great movie, and now there's a spin-off of it. And like we already talked about it in this episode, like James Gunn felt that the story was there.
Yeah.
And, he more or less has reinvented this character. Like, there's Peacemaker comics now. Like, when's the last time there was a Peacemaker? I don't know if there was ever a self-titled Peacemaker comic.
Right.
Ever. Maybe I could be wrong, but like, I don't know if there was. That didn't go very long.
Right.
No one had heard of this character for years until they announced that he was going to be in Suicide Squad, and now he's got his own comic. Like, and that's because of James Gunn. Like, James Gunn has reinvented this character. And it's like exciting for me as a DC fan. They're doing in 2022 what Marvel started doing in 2021, which is like tying in their movie universes to the TV show. Like, this is DC's first foray into that. And we know that there's other things that are coming that most likely will tie in tangentially or multiversally, whatever, to like the DCEU stuff. But
yeah,
as a DC fan, it's exciting for me to get a continuation of my favorite DCEU movie, one, and to get this first foray into episodic television that ties into that same continuity.
You could say it was your first step into a larger world.
Into a larger world. I could and would say that, Steve. Yes. My first step into a larger world. So yeah, Peacemaker. And I'm pumped because I get that in 2 weeks.
Right. And in all honesty, if you'd asked me this an hour and a half ago, I wouldn't have. Like, I would have been, Peacemaker's probably going to be good. I'm going to watch it, whatever. After watching that trailer, I had a crisis of conscience there of, like, do I bump it above Moon Knight or no?
Right,
like, That trailer sold it pretty well, so.
Yeah. Yeah. So what's your honorable TV mention?
Did
you already say Moon Knight?
Yeah, Moon Knight.
You already said Moon Knight. Okay,
yep. So,
Yeah,
I
we don't
mean,
have
with
a
Oscar
date.
Isaac on it, it's gonna like you at least have
I know.
someone in the leading role that I'm very excited about.
Yeah.
Actually, so he's he's the lead in my honorable mention, and he's also one of the leads in
lead, yeah.
my favorite movie. Looking forward to.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of dudes that have a lot of nerd money, Oscar Isaac is one of them.
Yes.
And he's about to have more.
He even made Apocalypse money.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Like
He's all over this shit.
He didn't even have to say many words, and he had nothing to do, and they killed the character, but it works. He got the money from it.
I wouldn't say that it worked. It worked for his
it worked
wallet.
for him.
I don't. Yeah. It didn't work for.
Didn't work for the movie, really.
Movie. Yeah. Not at all.
So.
Yeah. Awesome, man. All right. Well, this was a fun episode. It's fun to just kind of talk about things that we're excited about. I mean, we always kind of do that, but like usually we're like reporting on stories that have been announced, and this is just like what we kind of want to talk about. So that was fun.
Yeah.
And we definitely filled the time. I think we maybe went a little bit longer than normal, but
we're at an hour and a half.
Wow. Okay. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, and goodbye. This has been a long episode.
We're
looking forward to 2022. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Follow us on all the stuff that Steve's about to say.
Yeah, like, subscribe, follow us on Twitch, YouTube, subscribe it, leave some comments, do your thing. Comment on your podcatcher of choice and leave us a review, and we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next time around the multiverse.